We gotta
Don't worry, we
start
can
this
have it
all
up.
over.
If you want me to, I can just start a whole new meeting over and then start you off as the host. You want to do
We
that?
we can just do this.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So my name is Dion Davis. This is the Dion Davis Show called Positivity is the Way to Go. My guest today, he is a retired Army and current minor league basketball coach in Lawrence, Kansas. Also, he recently graduated from Claim Academy. Welcome my guest today, Timothy Simpson, and let's talk about your breaking news that you had.
Yeah. So like I said, Dion alluded to, I coach a team out of Lawrence called the Lawrence Admirals. And the breaking news is that I'm actually broken away from that organization and starting a brand new organization that will be playing out of Topeka, Kansas, called the Topeka Capitals. We're playing with the PBA, which is an outstanding minor league organization, the Pro Basketball Association. And so we're very excited about it because it has great ties to the G League as well as overseas teams. So I'm excited because now the guys that are playing for me are going to have a real opportunity to, perform and hopefully make it to the next level, which is what I want them to do.
Yeah. So who do you see anybody beating L.A. or Brooklyn? And who do you think gonna win it all in the NBA? And who your dark horse teams?
Oh, okay. Now you're really getting into it. Okay, I like that. LA to me is still, I still put them as a favorite because they're defending champs. Until someone knocks them off, they're still the defending champs. I still put them as a favorite. Um, Two things are gonna really determine that though: LeBron's health and what KD's gonna, or not KD, AD is gonna look like when he comes back. With his injury, it could be one of those iffy type things. So depending on what he looks like when he comes back, it's really going to depend on how far LA goes. Brooklyn is a scary team. I'm talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween. I'm talking about all those horror movies rolled into one. They are a very scary team from top to bottom, with Irving, with Harding, KD when he comes back, which I think he's going to come back probably about 90%, between 90 and 98% healthy. But if he continues to do what he's doing, even him at 50% is a scary KD. So I think they're pretty good. Now, as far as dark horses, people need to watch out for the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to be honest with you, with what Chris Paul has done, and I love Chris Paul. I've always loved Chris Paul, love his game, love his leadership. With what he's doing with that locker room coming in, and I think right now they're second in the West. I think they're, because I think it's Utah, Phoenix, and then LA, the Lakers. They are a scary team. But then also, please do not forget about the Clippers. I mean, you still got Kawhi Leonard, you still got Paul George, and he's playing extremely well this season. Watch out for him, but I think the overall threat is still Philadelphia, because of Embiid. But once again, that's going to depend on how he looks when he comes back from the hyperextended knee that he suffered.
Yeah, but uh, but LA, the other LA team that you was talking about, they don't got any bench though. They just got two superstars. They don't have
This
a
is very
bench at
true.
all, so they gonna get worn down. And then Phoenix, he don't got a history of doing it in the playoffs.
This is true. Now, the only difference is with Phoenix, Chris Paul does have history.
Yeah, no, but
Now he
not
does
history
have
of
his, and
winning
now his
though.
leadership.
Not history of winning in
This
the
is
playoffs though.
true. And how I look at it is, number one, who were you playing in the playoffs? Number two, who were your teammates in the playoffs? Now, I love Blake Griffin, but
He in Brooklyn
Blake
now.
was not that dude. Yeah, he's in Brooklyn now. Now, I think that's the reason why I say Brooklyn is probably the scariest team
Do you
in
know
the
he?
league right now.
Do you know he haven't dunked in 2 years? He don't even dunk
That
anymore.
sounds about right. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. But you know what? I always said that's okay. That's like Ben Simmons. I love Ben Simmons' game, but people always knock him about his jump shot, right?
Yeah.
Which rightfully so. Dude can't shoot. He cannot shoot. I mean,
Yeah.
if they said, hey, look, we're just gonna put a net in the ocean, all you have to do is put the ball in the ocean, he'd probably still hit the beach. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I understand that, but like I said, another knock was Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was the exact same way. Now, Jason Kidd was not the freak athlete that Ben Simmons is, but Jason Kidd, I mean, he was no slouch, but he developed his jumper. He kept working on his jumper. And towards the tail end of his career, he became a very reliable 3-point shooter. Ben Simmons can get there. Now, Blake was pretty much like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons could actually knock down, he can at least knock down a 12 to 15-foot jump shot. Maybe not consistently, but he can do it. Blake Griffin could not. He was 3 feet and in, and he was dunking on everybody. Now, because of injuries, he's had to say, oh, you know what? I can't do that anymore. Let me do something different. And now he's become an extremely reliable 3-point shooter. He can still do some things, but yeah, like you said, he ain't dunked in 2 years. So, I mean, he's starting to realize that guys, if they work on their game, they can improve, they can improve a lot. And so therefore, like when it comes to like Ben Simmons or some of these other guys, I don't worry about them so much because as long as they're working, I think they'll be fine. And as long as they keep trying to improve, they will most definitely be fine.
Do you think that was a big mistake when he signed back with Milwaukee? You know, he should have. I thought he should have went to Golden State and he signed back with Milwaukee. He the only star over there, and he can't shoot very well. I don't think he's gonna win in Milwaukee. That's why I thought he was gonna go to Golden State or Miami somewhere.
And you're talking about Giannis, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm torn on that. I mean, I get why maybe he did it, the loyalty factor. Um, and I think that if Milwaukee would have made some smarter business decisions, some of the players they acquired, I think they'd have been better off. I do agree with you though. I don't see in any foreseeable future of them actually really winning in Milwaukee. Because even if they make it out of the East, they still got the West they got to attend to. And the West, if you're talking about the top 5 teams, all have bigs that Milwaukee does not have. You look at, like you said, he's the only major star on that team. And the fact that, like you said, he can't shoot, he's not a reliable shooter. He
Yeah.
can knock down the 3.
He only shoot like 30%. He only shoot 30%.
Yeah.
He shoot air balls and he struggle with free throws.
Yeah, that's another big one. That's one that's always irritated me the most when it's come to NBA players. How is it you're playing at this high level, but you've never, if you're a poor free throw shooter, you've never actually become better at free throw shooting.
Free throws are like free food.
Exactly. Now, who don't like free food? I know I love some free food.
Yeah.
My stomach will tell you that I love some free food.
Yeah, that's what free throws is. All you gotta do is step in the line and shoot.
And like I said, my thing is, and I've been like this at every level I've coached, whether it was middle school, high school, coaching the minor leagues, even as a player, especially if you're in the NBA, you're getting paid to play basketball. You're not getting paid. You don't have to work another 9 to 5 job. You're not working. You're not saying, oh, I'm going to practice. Oh, hey, coach, I got to leave practice early because I got to go to McDonald's for my night shift. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that. So all you're doing is playing basketball. So most of these guys have home gyms. And if they don't have a home gym, they can definitely go down to the arena and get in any time. Why are you not working on the free throws? Why are you not saying, okay, look, this is why I'm not shooting well. What can I do to fix it? And then fix it. You know what I'm saying? There's been plenty of guys that, like I said, going back to Jason Kidd, was not a great shooter. But because he was dedicated to his craft, he developed his shot. So it's not like it's unheard of a guy, either if they're a poor free throw shooter or not, getting better at the free throw line. I mean, even Dwight Howard has gotten a little bit better, not much, but I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, what do you have a sports team down there where you at? Do you have a professional NBA team down there, or is that football and baseball?
It's mainly football and baseball. We got the Chiefs. You got the Royals. Kansas City Royals are close. The closest NBA team to us, I would say, probably is the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay,
I go down there to watch. Yeah, I go down there and watch.
They
those
trade
games.
all their good players away, though, man. They're a small market team. They'll never keep nobody. They always trade everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had a great team, but because they didn't go about treating their up and coming superstars the right way, most of them just left off. That's why you lost. That's why you lost James Harden. That's why because they didn't want to pay him. That's why you lost KD because they didn't, as an organization, come in and sit him and Russ down and say, look, you guys are dynamic. You guys are extremely great together. We need to figure out what it is we need to fix and how we can coexist, so that way we can build a championship team around you guys. Because let's not forget, they were only 2 games away from winning a championship in Oklahoma City when they played against the Heat.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like they couldn't win, but it's just because I mean, it's like that and everything. I don't care if it's basketball, baseball, football, whether it's your work environment, whatever. You're going to have people within your environment that you may not click with. You may just view things differently, and you may do things differently. However, if you can come together, figure it out, you can do a lot of great things. And I just think I think Oklahoma City probably in this era is probably one of the saddest organizations because of the fact they had Harding, they had KD, and they had Russell Westbrook, all 3 league MVPs that went on to be league MVPs.
And they
That
even
you
had
had
to do that LA. They even had to do this for LA now.
Yeah. And so I mean, like I said, it's when you talk about that stuff is so crazy. Because the simple fact is, I mean, you have so many teams that just could have been really great, but because of either egos or they just thinking, well, I'm better than this person and I can do this without them. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way.
What do you think about your football team? I get they're very good. They got a good quarterback, but their defense is not. Their defense is suspect. And then they got to pay these players because even though he taking a cap hit, you got to pay the quarterback. He can pay $300+ million right now. What do you think about Kansas City moving forward in football? Because a lot of teams are getting better in the AFC.
Yes, that is 100% right. Now, as far as the Chiefs, I will say the Chiefs are going, if they keep their offense together, they're going to be, even with a suspect defense, they're still going to be an elite team. Now, if they want to be an all-time great team, they need to shore up their defense. And you don't have to necessarily go out and just completely destroy your defense, or just go out and get key players in key positions. Start there. I think a lot of it is because a lot of these teams in the NFL, just in general, they've gotten more creative with their offensive sets, things they're doing, and how they utilize people. Which I don't care how great your defense is, it's still going to have holes. It's just limiting those holes and those mistakes that they make, and a lot of stuff they do. Because I mean, let's take the Super Bowl for instance. I mean, you get a good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care how great your defense is. First of all, if your front 4 are not doing their job, then the opposing quarterback is going to have all the time they need to do whatever they want. And that was exposed with the Chiefs. Their defense was decent at times, but like you said, very suspect. So to me, if I'm outside looking in, or even if I'm in the organization, I'm saying to myself, okay, first of all, where are the major holes that we're having? What are the major holes we're having? So if it's our secondary, which I think it is, then let's target better players, or at least develop the ones we've got better than what we're doing.
And another problem is, I think y'all gonna be y'all falling into the trap of being Seattle because they haven't won. He won his second year, and then they didn't go back there at all.
Yes. Well, that's a great point. I mean, and it's funny you say that, because I think it was either another colleague I was talking to, or it might have been my brother. I can't remember who it was I was talking to, but that brought up, and I brought up Russell Westbrook and the Seattle Seahawks, because that team, number one, had a great defense. They had an extremely good defense, and their offense was actually pretty up there, pretty the same. But what happened was they got stagnant. Play calling was questionable. You think about the Super Bowl when I think they were playing against the Patriots, I believe.
Yeah. They didn't
They're
run the
on the 1
ball.
yard. Yeah, they're on the 1 yard line. You don't run the ball.
Ball.
Yeah, and I'm like, first of
Beast
all, this dude's been
mode.
killing them oh, he's been killing the whole game and you don't give him the ball. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, things go back into decision making when it comes to a lot of that stuff, and then personnel. So I mean, as long because I think Andy Reid's a phenomenal coach. I've always loved Andy Reid. I think he's a phenomenal coach, the perfect coach for this team. As long as he's still making the calls, whether it's him making the calls on offense, or he has an offensive coordinator, whatever it is, as long as they're still making the calls that makes the offense successful, and like I said, they try to plug in good quality players to great quality players in those key positions. I think they're going to be Super Bowl contenders for as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, because he is that good. He is that dude.
Yeah, but quarterbacks get old though, and he gonna lose weapons and everything, and he gonna have to be like the guy at Tampa Bay. He gonna have to make a difference because they gonna lose their wide receiver, the tight end. They gonna have to start paying these players, and they
Yes.
gonna leave, and then Kansas City. I think Kansas City is a boom or bust team. It all depends on like they. I think y'all should have lost to San Francisco, but y'all had a break. Y'all had a break that went he dropped that football and everything. He would have caught that
Yeah.
football, y'all would have lost. I think it's
Yeah.
all about luck, and I think y'all running into competition that can match up with y'all now. Y'all ain't the Golden. Y'all ain't. It ain't the NBA. It ain't like Golden State, Cleveland.
Oh no.
Where you could dominate. Eventually you gonna run into teams that can beat you. They can figure you out. Like unlike the NBA, the best teams
Well,
only win.
yeah. Well, and I mean, the point you bring up is that it's not like the NBA, because in the NBA, you're talking about when you get into the playoffs, you've got a series.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You've got like 4 chances to win any series, right?
yeah,
But you talk NFL, you can only get one chance. So if you're not on your game, or if you're making questionable calls, or someone's just not feeling it and they're just not doing what they normally do, that's your only chance. NBA, what I'm saying, you may lose game one, you may even lose game two, but you can say, you know what, we're going back to our place. We've got 2 games here. We can regroup. And most teams do. They regroup. They may win their 2 games at home. And then now now it's more of an even series. But you talk about NFL, you get one shot. And like that movie said, any given Sunday, on any given day, especially when you're talking about football, I don't care if you're the number 1 seed or if you're the number 16 seed, whatever you
yeah.
is. Just like in NCAA, you get that one chance, and at any given setting, any team can win. So it doesn't matter who you got on the team. If that other team comes out and for whatever reason they say, "Hey, I believe we can beat this team," and they go out there and they believe and they beat that team, guess what? It don't matter. It don't matter who you got.
And what do you think about the dating and everything?
Dating, as far as what? As far as like approaches, as far as
I would say everything. Like I'm a single 24-year-old guy. I don't go on those dating apps and nothing like that.
all right.
All that stuff. I,
Which
I
is
like to I like to talk to my women in person. I'm not trying to
which
meet
is
no
good.
dude or nothing like that on the social media. I watch TV, man.
Yeah.
I be
And you
wild,
all and then
man.
and you know what? And I have people that'll ask me this, and I tell them, and they were like, well, I was on this dating app, this and that. It's like, well, see, that's number one. And like, I'm not gonna knock anybody that gets on dating apps. If that's the level of comfortability you have, that's fine. I'll just say be very careful, because just like you said, catfish is a real thing. And I ain't talking about going grabbing a fishing rod and some bait and going to a lake and going fishing. I'm talking about people getting on there lying about who they are, not having, putting on like pictures from back when they
Yeah,
was
fake
18,
profile
19 years
picture.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or putting somebody else's profile picture up there.
yeah.
That's a very real thing. And you from around think you meeting Stephanie, and you go to the club or the bar and you meeting Steve, that's a completely, that's a completely different thing, that could be some problems there. But
They're like,
anyways,
"Hello, my name is Steve. Hello."
yeah. Well, my thing is this, and I'll tell anybody this. First of all, know yourself, know who you are, be comfortable with yourself. Because if you're talking about, a man going to meet a woman, one of the first things a woman can tell right off if you're confident in yourself or not. If you don't have that confidence, I'm not talking about being cocky. I'm not talking about being a complete jerk or one of those I'm not getting the classes of alpha males, sigma males, beta males. I'm talking about just knowing who you are and being confident in that. If you know you're a funny dude, number one, don't try to be overly funny. Just and my thing is, and it's the same thing I teach my son, and even my daughters, be a well-rounded person. I pride myself on being able to, no matter what the situation, no matter what the environment is, being able to hold or strike up a conversation on just about any topic. Because if you do that, because you never know who you're going to meet. You may meet a woman, she's beautiful and this and that, but then you find out she knows a little bit more than what you thought you did.
Yeah.
So therefore you try to have a conversation and she may be wanting to engage in that conversation, but then she's like, wait a minute, he doesn't really know the same stuff that I know or likes the same stuff that I like. Maybe this is not the person I really want to talk to. That can turn some people off. I'm not trying to say you have to sit there in front of your laptop, computer, TV, a newspaper, whatever you do, and stay completely up on current events. I'm not saying something like that, or, say you have to go out and get PhDs and stuff like that. No, I'm not saying all that. I'm saying try to be a well-rounded person. Number one, I'm very big on this. Know the type of environment you're going to. If you're going to go meet a girl at a club or a bar, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. If you meet somebody at a club, conversation is really not all that cracked up for what it is. Just make sure you're up on the dance moves. If you can dance, you're good. You're good. If you meet somebody at a bar, once again, conversation, yeah, it's a great starter, but most time what are people there to do? They're there to drink. They're just there to have a good time. If you can strike up a great conversation, that's good. But if you're like in a dinner setting, or you meet somebody at a restaurant, that's when you need to kind of pay attention to your conversation. And I say, and I'm a big on this, learn how to read people, read signs. Everybody gives off some type of indication. They give off some type of indication if they want to be talked to, if they don't want to be talked to. If a woman's interested in you, there's different things she's going to do. She might start playing with her hair. She might lean in a little bit more when you're talking. She might, what's some other things she might do? She might mimic you. Now, people don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize if a woman, and most people in general, but especially a woman, if she starts mimicking some of the things you're doing, like right now, I'm talking with my hands, I'm doing this snap. If she starts doing some of the same things you're doing, she's honestly interested in you.
Okay.
Because in a psychological state, what they're doing.
I never thought about that.
Well, it's one of these things that which we don't realize is that people will do stuff like that because they're trying to be accepted by you. So they'll do things that you'll do because that's something you do. You like doing that, even though I don't realize I talk with my hands a lot. I'd have somebody point that out. But so they'll start mimicking some things that you're doing because they want you to accept them. Now that's a subconscious thing that most people don't realize they're doing it. But if you pick up on those type of signs and somebody's actually doing those type of things, hey, they're actually wanting to engage in more conversation. And as long as you can keep that interest in conversation engaged, then I mean everything's possible.
I got a question. Why do women tell stories on people and everything, and like say people did something to them and stuff like that, and tell stories on people? And why do they tell stories about them being about their age, and then about them being having somebody and they don't got nobody? Why do they do that to guys? I don't understand why.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say this. Understanding the woman in general is a very difficult thing. You said, how old you say you were? 25?
No, I'm 24.
You're 24. Okay, you're
Yeah.
24. I'm 43. All right. So I've been on Earth a little bit longer than you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't understand everything. I just try to read as best as I can. I mean, I might jot some notes down. Okay, wait a minute. She did what? Oh, let me jot this down. Okay, wait a minute. No, so that didn't mean that. Okay, hold on. Dude, I'm telling you right now, it's frustrating. Okay, now to your question, a lot of times, what I found out in my experience, I'm just going to talk about my experience. Some women do that because, even though they may not say it, some of them are, they might be looking for somebody to save them out of a situation they're in. And it may not be a relational, savior. It may be like you said, they say they have somebody, but they really don't. Sometimes they're saying that because what they're trying to do is put in a built-in wall, so that way, if you don't meet the expectations that they're looking for, they have something to fall back on. Oh well, it really didn't work out because I'm already seeing somebody anyways, even though they may not be seeing somebody. It's kind of like a built-up wall, because I mean, some women they've been through a lot of stuff. And they don't want to get hurt again. But in men's defense, what women have to realize, a lot of men have been hurt and been put in situations because of what you're saying, because they've had women tell them stories about, well, let's just call it what it is. They've had women lie to them about, different things. Same thing about, women having men lie to them about different things. Everybody puts up a wall. We only allow people to see and know about us what we want them to know. And maybe that's just because it's kind of like in today's terms, a bubble. It's a bubble that we put up around ourselves as a protective barrier. So like I say, like I'll tell you or anybody else, if you're serious about dating, if you're serious about really wanting to meet somebody, number one, know yourself, be comfortable with yourself, and also be ready and prepared to open that bubble up. You know what I'm saying? Because with a little bit of pleasure is gonna come some pain. It's the same thing I tell my players when we're working out. The pleasure is what we're gonna be doing out there on that court game day. But to get to that pleasure, we need to go through this pain of practice, weightlifting, training, and all that stuff. Go through this pain so you can get to that pleasure.
It's like the saying, practice. What are you talking? What do you mean practice?
Yeah, Allen Iverson, that's my boy. That's my dog. I ride AI all day, every day. I got some AI shoes on right now.
Oh, okay. He know how to do the crisscross, and he know how to make people look silly.
Woo.
That's one thing I like about basketball. They crisscross and then they fall to the floor.
Yes.
And then they all on social media. They're like, man, what happened to you? They're like, oh, my shoe came out of my foot.
Now I had one of those moments when I was in college. It was like probably the best moment. I was at an all-star game. I was going from a junior college looking for a 4-year college, and we were at the all-star game. We were playing. I was playing, pretty well, and came down the court. I got the ball on the right wing. Went to go take a dribble towards the baseline and brought that ball back. When I brought it back, the dude fell. I mean, he fell out of bounds. And I just let the ball bounce to me, pull that bad boy, hit a 3, pow, splash that bad boy, turn around, walked off. I was like, hey, if I don't play another game, I'm good. That got recorded. I'm good. I'm good. I'm telling this story everywhere I go.
He's a meme now.
Yeah, man. I'm about to say, man, this dude, I was like, I done gave this man the Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. He done got snapped out of existence. He done went out the frame.
Yeah. So it was a pleasure having you on today, Tim. Man, you do a good job, and I appreciate having you on today, man.
Man, I really appreciate you, Dion, for the invite. And with my podcast, I'm definitely gonna have to extend the invitation out to you as a guest on my podcast. So be looking for that invitation, man.
Yeah, I got a show that I'm gonna be on tomorrow. I'm gonna be a guest on this Canadian musician I had on my show. His name Matt Gardiner. I'm gonna be on his show tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna be on this show tomorrow.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna be subscribing to your podcast. I'll definitely. After talking to you, man, you're a great young man, and I would love, especially after like I said, I love your the name of your podcast. So that right there alone already piqued my interest, and then having an opportunity to actually talk with you really has really inspired me to really want to tune in. So I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
I got like 12 episodes. They getting edited and everything,
Okay.
I got 2 episodes up now. I'm new to this. I just started in January doing this stuff, And I got 12 episodes.
You started about the same time I did.
I got 12 episodes already, It is already only March, I've only been doing this for less than 2 months.
Yeah, you started about the same time I did. I mean, mine's usually on like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. There's a couple other podcast ones I have.
Well, YouTube
but I'm now going to start.
YouTube
You said
taking
what?
over though, man, because everything on YouTube. YouTube taking over
Yeah,
for TV.
yeah. So I mean, I've actually got a couple. I've got a YouTube channel I'm actually going to be putting up because I plan on doing my podcast simultaneously with that, so that way I can get viewers. But I also do mine on my Facebook Live as well, so that way I can get interactive, real time guests and visitors, so I can respond to comments and all that stuff. So it's great, man. Like I said, I appreciate you, man. You're doing a good job.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
I'll come on your show, man. I got you, man.
Most definitely, hey, yeah. I'm putting the show together. I'm gonna put the show together. So I do my own anchor. So
Okay.
we can do like a podcast. Mostly my podcasts are roughly about an hour, depending on the guest and depending on the conversation, because sometimes it goes about an hour and a half, man. Because we be getting in it. We be getting into it, boy. And I'll be like, yes, I'm talking about it. Hey, what you think about this? What you think about that? And, we'll be going. So I love it, man. I love this. I love this whole thing.
All right, man. Thank you, man. It was a pleasure, and I'll be on your show. They'll send me the email and the link and everything, and I'll come on your show. We can set up a date. So it was a pleasure having you on. You have a nice day.
Thank you, Dion. You too, man.